Last week was a very good week for the Cajuns in Arkansas. Having to finish the league season on the road is difficult at best, but when you have to go to Arkansas because of the travel, there's an added dimension there, and I thought our players handled it very well. Coming away with 2 wins gives us a lot of momentum going into the conference tournament, and we're looking forward to that with our first game on Thursday. And with that, I'll take questions. Trajan's doing really well. Our point guard is doing very, very well. Trajan played very well for us against Arkansas State in the second half. I know we're talking about Marcus Stroman. Marcus has a little bit of a lower extremity injury. We're going to find out more about that this afternoon, but we expect him to be ready for the conference tournament. But our point guard, Trajan Wesley, played very, very well against Arkansas State. Well, we do that anyway. We have a couple, 3 guys that'll run the point in practice. P.J. Hardy's done it. Cedric Russell's done it. Trajan's our guy. He's the #1 backup to Stroman. And I can't say enough of what he was able to do against Arkansas State in the second half. He's played minutes all year long, but he hasn't played sustained minutes like that in that type of environment. So we were really pleased with his production on both ends of the floor.
Is it more of a defensive, it's a problem all the way around, but if he's hobbled or doesn't play, is it really leaves you at a bigger hole in the defensive side or the offensive?
Well, Marcus had done a really good job against Cockfield for Arkansas State. Cockfield, I think, had 6 first-half points. He had like 107 in the second half. It was more like 26 or something like that. But he made it very difficult for Cockfield to get a shot off, and that's because of his size, his length, his toughness, and his basketball IQ. Trajan doesn't have the same size as Marcus. He has as much toughness. He's got really good IQ, but there just isn't the size there. And Cockfield got off in the second half from the three-point line. Now, having said that, those were contested three-point shots. It's not like he was getting uncontested shots, but Marcus, his charge all year long has been to take the other team's best guard in conference play after Malik Marchetti went down. That was Malik's responsibility throughout the first half of the season in the non-conference. Marcus had to take that over and has done a pretty good job for us and made it very difficult for Arkansas State's guards to get good looks at the basket in the first half. But the defensive end is where we're most concerned with not having Marcus on the floor. Well, winning on the road is great. It gives you a great deal of confidence in your guys. We won 2 tough basketball games. You know, Jakina Gant scored 45 against Little Rock here the first time. He had a smooth 5 against Little Rock on Thursday. And he was in foul trouble, and it was hard for him to get into a rhythm. And we're down by double digits with something like, 10, 11 minutes left in the game. Gant fouled out at around a 13-minute mark. And our guys really came through. Other guys had to find a way to score. We went small. And I thought that created some opportunities for us on offense. We were able to spread the floor, create dribble drives to the basket. When they collapsed on the ball, we were kicking it out, playing unselfishly, and our shooters were able to connect from the three-point line. Although they had a size advantage against us late in the game because of Gant's foul trouble, and I should say Miller was in foul trouble as well as Jerikas Davis, we went to a zone, a pedestrian high school 2-3 zone, and it got the job done for us on the defensive end. But Hardy and Cedric Russell really did a good job for us from behind the arc in the second half against Little Rock, which allowed us to win the basketball game. I think so, and that's been a mark of Coach Marlin's teams throughout the years, at least in the 6 years I've been here. As you said, we've won 6 of our last 8, so guys are playing well at the right time of the season. And you can't put a value on that when you go into the conference tournament where it's a one-and-done situation. So we're very pleased with where our guys are at and with where our team is at right now on both sides of the basketball.
What's different about this point in the season? Everybody's seen everybody going into the tournament, so just what's different about it?
Well, you don't have a second chance to correct your mistakes. You lose and you're done. Your season's over. You know, the dogs bark and the caravan moves on. And that's something that I think makes the postseason extremely difficult. There's more pressure. Everybody's a little tired, a little hurt. So your defense has to travel, and your guys on offense who have the ability to make shots need to make shots, and they need to take quality shots. And we've been doing that in the last 8 games, which is why we've won 6 of our last 8. But I think also on the defensive end, we've been much better and more consistent in rebounding the basketball.
Can you break down how you guys match up and whether it's South Alabama or Arkansas State?
Well, matchups for us aren't as important this time of year. It's more about what you do as opposed to what your team does. I don't think there's a great deal of difference in South Alabama or Arkansas State. Most of our league and most of college basketball, and you can even say professional basketball, is a guard-driven league. So your guards have to be ready to play. They have to defend and rebound, but they've got to make shots, especially from beyond the arc. In Arkansas, we got off to 2 great starts offensively. We made 2 threes in both games before the first media timeout by 2 different players, and that's a big deal from a momentum standpoint and from a confidence standpoint, and it takes a lot of pressure off your defense. But one reason I think we've won 6 of our last 8 is because of our shot selection. You take good shots, you give your offense a chance to succeed, but it also takes a great deal of pressure off your defense. When you take bad shots, especially a quick bad shot, it usually leads to a layup on the other end, and that's a momentum killer for your team. If you can get it, it really helps. But when you give that up, it puts a lot of pressure on your defense. I think our shot selection over the last 8 games has been very good. I thought this past week it was excellent. We were working the ball inside out, side to side. Guys were playing very unselfishly. And to the young men's credit, and once again, it's Hardy and Russell. Now, Davis made a couple threes during the week. Miller did, Gant did. But those 2 guys, P.J. Hardy and Cedric Russell, were a combined 18 for 32 from the three-point line this past week. You're going to win with efficiency like that from beyond the arc.
Well, how hungry were the guys, after how the season ended last year in Tourney, number 1 seed, but now it's a little different as they're a 5 seed. So how much hunger did they give the guys that were back from last year?
Well, I don't think last year's result has anything to do with this year. It was a long time ago. These are new players, new teams, new responsibilities, new opponents. So the only thing we're focused on is how we finish the regular season. That's our immediate past. We won 2 games on the road. Not having your 2 best players play at their best or be off the court because of injury or foul trouble. You win on the road. You win a game in overtime. And I think that speaks a lot about their toughness, their character, and it gives us a great deal of momentum going into the tournament.
If it's Arkansas State, though, playing a team in back-to-back games, that has to create some interesting challenges.
Well, it does create a challenge, but listen, when you get to the tournament, everyone got there for a reason. They won their way into the tournament, which means they've got a quality club. And regardless of the situation, you have to play at your best. In the tournament, it's more about what you do more so than your opponent, because you don't have the time, you don't have the second chance that you would have during the regular season. I think it's a plus with us in terms of playing Arkansas State because of the familiarity. We played South Alabama a while ago. But back in the days when, we had outdoor plumbing and I was doing film exchange and film breakdown, it was a little bit harder to do. But now with Synergy, you get everybody's game immediately after it's over with. So I don't think it's that critical, but it does create some confidence for our guys, knowing they beat them on the road at their place in overtime with your starting point guard not playing the second half.
What are the challenges of just mentally resetting from game to game in this tournament, just in terms of, you have an overtime type game like this one, whatever happens from game to game, going to the next game with a new mindset?
If you're going to win in postseason play, you have to do 3 things. You have to shoot the ball very well. You have to rebound the basketball. And you've got to be tougher than the other team mentally. And that's it. It doesn't matter who your opponent is. It doesn't matter what the situation is. But you've got to be able to shoot the ball efficiently and effectively. You've got to be able to rebound the basketball. You can't give up second shots. And then you simply have to be tougher. Think about when we won the tournament in 2014. Alfred Payton was a lottery pick and didn't make the all-tournament team. Sean Long, who was a first-team all-conference guy, didn't make the all-tournament team. Bryant Bomaloo, had a career night, the first night, and then in the championship game, and he was the tournament MVP. And then you had Xavier Rimmer, had 2 career highs. He had a career high in the first game, he had a donut in between, and then he had a career high in the championship game. That's what you have to have. That's the kind of production you have to have from guys if you're going to win in a tournament in postseason play. Your best players have to be at their best. But also, when your opportunity creates itself, you have to be ready. And this is it. We use this with our players all the time. Be at your best when your best is required. That's what allows you to win in postseason play. Being at your best when your best is required.
How important was
Not playing in the play-in game tomorrow is a big deal because of the health issues, because of the rest. At this time of year, as I said before, everybody's tired, everybody's sore, everyone's beat up, and you're beat up more mentally than you are physically, to tell you the truth. So having the extra day is a big deal because once you get to New Orleans, you know it's going to require a great deal of mental and physical toughness to win 4 games in 4 days.
In what ways down the stretch has PJ been like a glue for this team?
I think PJ has been has had a really good conference season, and he's accepted his role. He's been very coachable, and he understands what he can and can't do. I think he's showing more discipline in his shot selection. I think he's showing more discipline when he puts the ball on the floor, going to the basket instead of forcing the shot, looking for that next guy. So I think he's done a really good job in conference play, especially over the last 8 games. And if we're going to win in the tournament, Russell and Hardy, Cedric Russell and P.J. Hardy, have to be efficient from beyond the arc. The three-point shot is such an important part of basketball now. It's become the most important part. And fortunately for us, we've got 2 guys who have shot the ball very well over the last week. And we've also got guys like Jerikas Davis and Gant can make a 3. He can stretch you, and Justin Miller. So we're very proud of what PJ's done. He's going to be fine physically for the tournament. I think for Jacquinnon, he realizes he didn't have his best tournament because of illness and injury last year, and I think he's really looking forward to this. Listen, when you're a senior and you enter postseason play, when you play your last game, it's like driving into a wall at 100 miles an hour. I mean, your career comes to a stop just like that, and it's a tough thing to do. So you can't be overwhelmed by the moment, and you can't be at such a frenetic pace mentally when you're a senior, when you know this could be my last game, that you go out and try to do too much. And sometimes guys go out and they try too hard, and you just get the opposite effect of that. It's important that you do your job, you be at your best when your best is required. But for a guy like Jacquinnon and Marcus, for that matter, they understand that this is a little different because my next loss is going to be my last loss in a Cajun uniform. But you don't dwell on that. If you do, you're going to put yourself into a situation mentally where you can't make plays because you're going to get locked up by the stress of the situation. And I think those guys will do a very good job of handling this. Like I said before, if you're going to win in a tournament, in a one-and-done situation, you have to be at your best when your best is required from everybody on the floor.